William Hill sponsors Joshua vs Barker live on Sky Sports Box Office.
That's how boxing should be.
This is Coogan Cassius for IFL TV in association with MTK Global. We're in Cardiff here, ahead of Joshua Parker tomorrow night. I'm joined by the one and only boxing dentist, Arthif. What's happening?
What's happening? I'm good, Coogan. How are you? All right?
Yeah, all good, all good, all good.
Busy day.
It's been a long day, long night. We'll come on to that in a little while. Yeah, what's been going on with you? Tell us a little bit.
I just been busy training, been busy in the ring, been busy in the surgery. But yeah, no rest for the wicked, as they say. But yeah, no, I just got back from the States not long ago. I was in a training camp in Vegas. I was actually due to fight, do a 6-rounder on Deontay's undercard in New York against Luis Ortiz. But a couple of obstacles and wasn't able to materialise, unfortunately. But hopefully it'll be sorted out for next time. So I had a great camp there. Had 2 fights back to back in Europe, in Czech Republic and Hungary. And good solid wins. So yeah, so officially 10-3 now. Nice to get into double figures, and hopefully looking to get out again next month in Europe for another 6-rounder, and then God willing, some big news in May, and looking for a career-changing fight really. So I'm just looking forward to that. So eventually there's been sort of some light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. So I'm really excited.
Can you tell us a little bit about potentially where that next fight could be?
Not yet, but watch this space.
So you're in the middle of camp at the moment, ahead of a potential fight.
I've just had a fight last weekend in Hungary, and so I've just literally had a few days off, and when I get back after this fight, I'll be back in the gym, and so yeah. So I've just really been basically back to back since I've been training in Vegas with my trainer Eddie Mustafa Mohammed. I've just basically been in since February. So I've just had a few days of rest after fights really. So yeah.
I see you pulling up today in a nice brand new C63 Mercedes.
Well, courtesy to Mercedes-Benz of Manchester Central. So shout out to them. Fantastic. Check them out.
Definitely. Drive a Mercedes myself, so yeah.
It's the best. It's the ultimate driving machine, Mercedes-Benz. Nothing beats it.
I drive a Punto. Really, it's cool. Shout out to Punto as well, Fiat. So obviously, let's just give everyone a little update on what's going on. We've been in tonight and we've been waiting for a certain Mr. Deontay Wilder, who's not in Cardiff, unfortunately. Yeah. He's out doing media things today in America, so we know he's definitely not coming. Nope. I think people still hoping that he's going to rock in a parachute tomorrow through the Principality Stadium, but we know he's not coming tomorrow. We've spoken to him tonight. Yes, appreciate, obviously, the link up today with Deontay. Yeah, I mean, he's obviously been getting a bit of stick this week for not coming to Cardiff. He's explained his reasons. Not obviously to me, but to other media outlets, why he isn't going to be here this week.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame really, and I think in the media this week as well, I think Eddie Hearn has been quite vocal and said his perspective, and I think that's why it was imperative that Deontay spoke with yourself, with the IFL, and got his perspective out as well. I think boxing fans just need to tune into that, watch that phone call interview with yourself to hear his perspective and really understand and read between the lines of what's happening, because I think Eddie Hearn's a great promoter. He's one of the best. He's done a fantastic job. He's put British boxing on the map. The way he's drawn the casuals in, he's done a phenomenal job. He's fantastic. Gift of the gab. He could sell sand to the Arabs. He could sell snow to the Eskimos. He's very good at what he does. But I think in terms of honesty, integrity, and things like that. I think sometimes things need to be said a bit more clearer and a bit more sort of truthfully. I think the boxing fans aren't getting the real picture, and I think that's a shame. I mean, Deontay, he was really excited to come, even after his fight against Luis Ortiz, and the very next day of we were talking about it, and we were talking about we're making some plans for this actual trip, for his UK trip when he's coming to Cardiff. So he's really excited, and from his perspective, obviously initially he was promised that he'd be able to come into the ring to do a bit of a face off with Anthony Joshua, and to build the super fight out, and that's the fight everyone wants to see. Anthony Joshua, Deontay Wilder, that's the fight everybody wants to see. But then afterwards he was told, no, can't get into the ring for whatever reason, which is a bit ironic, because Eddie Hearn talks about saying how he wants to promote Deontay Wilder and do X, Y, Z, and he's not promoted enough. Well, that was free publicity there. You couldn't ask for anything better and bigger, but he was declined that. And Deontay is a very respectful guy. He's not someone who will, kind of ruin someone's parade and stand on someone's parade and just. He's very respectful. He's not someone who will come and do certain things. He's he's a religious guy. He's a man of God, and he's what he's like. So he would have just done it in a respectful way and just been like, look, this is boxing. This is this is business. This is what we're here to do. Let's prove who see who's the best. But that wasn't what was happening. Then they said no. Then it seemed like suddenly it was a change of shift and tone. They're talking about Deontay fighting in New York against David Miller, and then they started to shift Dillian Whyte in front and pushing. And Deontay, he doesn't have a problem with Dillian Whyte. He's just saying, listen, I want to fight the number one. I'm the champion. I want to fight a fellow champion, and I want a unification fight. And you can't knock a fighter for that. Eddie Hearn has talked about Deontay Wilder's cojones and saying questioning his mettle. Deontay is he's been willing, even though he was a champion, he's been willing to wanting to go to Russia to fight Povetkin. Who does that? Normally champions are like, well, we're going to call the shots. You're going to fight where we want to fight. He was willing to go to Russia to fight Povetkin. You don't really hear of that. Luis Ortiz, he's the most avoided heavyweight. And he failed his drugs test, Luis Ortiz, and he had every every excuse, every justification to avoid that fight. But he said no. He gave Luis Ortiz another chance. He said no. That's the he's the next best fight. He's the next best fighter after Anthony Joshua. So in the heavyweight division, that's the most difficult fight out there currently. He took that fight, so you can't really question his mettle. So that with all these factors, and then trying to then effectively saying, well, we're not going to give you Anthony Joshua, we're going to give you Dillian Whyte, and he's thinking, well, I was coming over to the Anthony Joshua fight, then not for anything else. I've got other options, and so with all of this, he's felt disrespected and said, well, if that's the case, then what's the point in me coming? I'm not going to come if you're going to disrespect me like that. It's just it's a strange thing, really. In boxing. One of the reasons why Canelo was so despised in the last 12, 18 months was because he was avoiding Golovkin. He was a champion, and there was a fellow champion, Golovkin, and everyone in boxing wanted to see that unification fight. And Canelo, for other reasons, was looking at sort of other fights and stuff, and that's what his team were looking at. So because of that, the boxing fans turned against him. Even the Mexican fans, they began to despise Canelo, and they began to support Golovkin. So in a similar sense, you got Deontay Wilder. He's asking for the number one fighter. He's asking for Anthony Joshua. Anthony Joshua's beat Dillian Whyte. He's a champion, so he's the number one. How can you knock Deontay Wilder for asking for the number one fighter? It doesn't make sense. How are you going to question his mettle? Then then Eddie Hearn's saying, oh, every person in the media thinks that Deontay Wilder's made a big mistake for not coming. Well, you got I'll name you one journalist, Jeff Powell. He's been a boxing journalist for over 50 years. He said Deontay had no need to come if this is the way he was going to be treated. If he wasn't going to be welcome to kind of publicise a potential future super fight with Anthony Joshua, what was the point of him coming? He doesn't need to come. He said that. Glenn McCrory, a very respectable pundit for many years, he said the same thing. So though it's not how, everyone doesn't see it like that. And I think the boxing fans need to see what's happening, read between the lines, and understand what's going on. Deontay Wilder has been asking for the fight for the last 2 years. So it is what it is, and you have to understand he's a man of principle, and if he wasn't going to be given these terms and be treated in such a way, he's going to say, I'm not coming.
Well, like I said, it's been a sort of drama all week, and we're coming to kind of the end of it. We now know he's definitely not obviously coming. So,
no.
I mean, it all depends, obviously, tomorrow how that plays out between Anthony Joshua and, an overlooked Joseph Parker. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight for Anthony Joshua. No. But come Sunday morning, the final games will begin again. If Anthony Joshua is victorious, I was talking to Deontay there about what happens, and he doesn't know, exactly, who reaches out to who, what's the next step. But I'm sure that moves will be made if Anthony Joshua is successful tomorrow night to see whether this has got genuine legs for
that's
the
the thing.
next fight.
Unfortunately, I don't think there will be. I personally don't think the way things have been planning out from Eddie Hearn and from what they're saying. I don't see them sort of rushing and interested in that fight. I think they want to take another pathway. That's why they're even trying to push Dillian Whyte for a potential fight with Deontay. So I don't even know if we're going to see that fight in 2018 by the looks of it. But like I said, like you said, Anthony Joshua's got a tough task tomorrow with Joseph Parker. God willing, he wins. I like Anthony Joshua. I've always supported him. I think he's great for the sport. He's a brilliant ambassador for the sport of boxing. British boxing couldn't ask for a better face, than Anthony Joshua. So I always, support him, and but obviously with Deontay's like, he's like my brother. So obviously my support's with Deontay in that super fight. But yeah, let's hope he does the business tomorrow. But I don't think, Eddie Hearn and Matchroom are going to be on the rush to pick up the phone and speak to Al Heyman and Deontay's team saying, let's get this fight going, because they've had opportunities to drum up the fight, to drum up the interest. I mean, it's a super fight. I mean, that's the fight everybody wants to see. If you ask boxing fans, what's the one fight you want to see? It's going to be, they're going to say Deontay Wilder, Anthony Joshua. No one's rushing saying, without no disrespect to Dillian Whyte, he's a very good fight. He's done very well. But no one's going to say that's the fight you want to see, Dillian Whyte and Deontay Wilder. Everybody wants to see Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua. That's the super fight. And, let's give the fans what they want.
Step one, we'll see what happens tomorrow.
Yeah, God willing. So, good fight. Let's hope AJ does it, and in good fashion. Yeah.
Have you got anything else you'd like to add?
No, that's all. Just appreciate the support. You can find me on Dr. Hitman Daniel, and thanks for your support and prayers.
No problem. I'm sure we'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers.
Top man.
That's how boxing should be.
William Hill sponsors Joshua versus Parker live on Sky Sports Box Office.